Welcome to the ZimmCast, a program dedicated to bringing you what's new in agricultural marketing. The ZimmCast is the official podcast of AgWired and hosted by Chuck and Cindy Zimmerman.
Hello and welcome to the ZimmCast. I'm Chuck Zimmerman. This week we're going to get a preview of the new CattleCon. I love that name. It's new and perfect for the cattle industry convention and NCBA trade show. In fact, CattleCon is the official new name. To learn all about what's new and different with CattleCon, I talked with Kristin Torres. She's the Executive Director of Meetings and Events for NCBA. Kristin, it's great to talk to you about what is now called CattleCon, and I'd like to start there because it's a new name, and I think it's an awesome one. What triggered that? Because that kind of like was a hashtag for a couple of years in social media.
Yes, it was a hashtag, and we found that people were actually calling it that. And CattleCon actually became a lot easier on the branding side of things. It kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit easier than Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. So same event, same groups as a part of the event, but really just wanted to come up with a name that's easy for folks to remember, rolls off the tongue, and it is still the official hashtag.
The program itself has some changes in it. We'll go over some of like what's new or different and kind of go through the schedule as it starts. I think that's on Tuesday with an ag tour, and we kind of go from there. So what are some of the things you might highlight first of all for folks?
Sure, yeah. So the official dates of the show are January 31st to February 2nd, but we actually start with some programming on January 30th. And like you mentioned, we have an ag tour, so folks that are interested in that can sign up for the tour. And then we also have a grazing management workshop that's happening on Tuesday afternoon. That's a new session for folks. It is a separate ticketed item, so folks do need to register separately for it. A couple of other changes that we have made with the convention this year. We heard loud and clear that people wanted things a little bit more concisely. So we actually took Cattlemen's College programming that was originally kind of on the front end of the convention, and it's now actually woven throughout the entire event. So each and every day, folks will be able to attend education sessions. And then we also put a Cattlemen's College classroom actually on the trade show floor. So they'll have sessions down there. They'll have sessions in the meeting rooms as well. And by our registration numbers, a lot of folks are responding well to that. They're very interested in having a little bit more education offerings each day. Another significant change that people have been very interested in are a couple of our specific programs that happen at the convention, those being the Cattle Feeders Hall of Fame dinner and the Environmental Stewardship Awards dinner. Those have moved to a new night. So those are now both happening on Thursday evening as opposed to earlier in the week. Also gives those folks a chance to attend the trade show. If they want to just be able to come for one day and go to the specific award program, they can do that much more easily now.
Well, once we get past the opening day, we do get into some of the regular annual things that take place. Like always, the DC issues update is something that's highly on everybody's mind, and then we kind of go from there with general sessions, and some of them can get a little entertaining. So what's the outlook there?
Yeah, so we actually start the week, those region meetings that we have. So if folks are interested in learning what's happening in their region of the country, these meetings are for everyone and for these folks to get connected. We actually have those on Tuesday late in the day, so folks can fly in on Tuesday if they need to. We have the region meetings followed by a short reception for each of those folks. And then DC Issues Update is actually happening Wednesday morning. And folks have an opportunity to hear directly from our DC staff what NCBA's priorities are and what's happening in DC and what they need to be on the lookout for over the next year. And then the official kickoff to the convention is that opening general session. And we have a great event lined up this year. We have a speaker by the name of John Dorenbos. He's a former NFL player. He used to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. And he's actually a magician now and a speaker by trade, but he tells his story about playing in the NFL. He has a very interesting upbringing and some tragedies and obstacles that he's had to overcome. But then he's one of the most popular magicians that have ever been on the show America's Got Talent. And he's the number one guest that was on the Ellen show ever when that show was out. So he's been back more than anyone. So it's going to be very, very highly entertaining, very family friendly. We're really looking forward to that session. And we have a general session that happens every day of the convention, and Thursday morning's no different than that. We kick off the day with a gentleman by the name of Jim Carroll. He's a futurist, and he's going to talk to folks about what he sees coming up in the next year, 10 years, 20 years from now with artificial intelligence, how folks may feel like that's not going to affect their world, but it's actually going to affect their world, and how to disrupt before you become disrupted. And he's also going to talk about the ag industry and what he's seeing for the industry over the next few years. So it should be a very, very insightful session there. We also have all of our committee work that happens at the convention. So this is where policy is set. This is where, we're given direction on programs that we're working on and what folks want to see out of those. So if someone's in the beef cattle industry and they want to have their voice heard, this is the place to come for it.
Well, we have to talk about trade show, and I'd love to know, what to expect there. We have a welcoming reception, and it's a great place for just having networking and fellowship with other folks. At the same time, you've got just usually a pretty massive trade show to try to
we
see
do.
if you want to get all the way through it,
Yes, we have the trade show will be bustling again this year. We have 8.5 acres of exhibit space. We have over 350 companies that will be exhibiting there. Anything that producers need for their operations, pharmaceuticals, equipment, fencing supplies. We even have a retail shopping area. And the trade show is more than just a trade show. We try to make it the whole thing an experience. So we have education offerings happening on the show floor. As I mentioned, the Cattlemen's College sessions will be there. We also have 2 other classroom areas on the show floor that are filled with education every day. And then we have the Stockmanship and Stewardship demonstration arena. And we bring in live cattle and we do low stress cattle handling sessions there. We also have receptions in the trade show every day. So we have an opening reception that is a Flamingo Fiesta, hard to say, for a chance for people to connect and kind of kick off the convention. We have a happy hour Thursday afternoon where we have a beef and beer pairing, which is going to be a lot of fun for folks. And then on Friday, we have our Pups and Popsicles. Again, we're hoping to be real family friendly, and we'll have boozy and non-boozy popsicles there at that reception. Some other things that we have happening in the trade show this year as well is RFD is going to be setting up a studio and recording a lot of sessions there. Our friends at Farm Journal are going to be recording their session there as well, and folks have a chance to be audience members for all of that. And NCW is actually holding their Emerging Leaders Luncheon actually on the show floor as well. So we're really trying to make the show floor kind of the hub of the convention. So there's going to be a lot of buzz for sure.
Just scrolling through a lot of the sessions and the different topics, one stuck out with me just as I was doing that is a sustainability forum, which assume I know what that means, but you've got a good kind of panel for that.
We do. We have a partner for that in Elanco. They've partnered with us the past couple of years to put that session on, and it's really a very specific for the beef cattle industry, but a deeper dive into the current status of sustainability, also looking at NCBA's sustainability priorities at that session as well. We have that session is open for everyone too. I just want to make sure that that's clear, that folks with a full registration know that they can go into that session as well. And it's a great place to have discussions with other producers and really get your finger on the pulse of what's happening in terms of sustainability for the organization.
Yeah, another really well-attended session is always the CattleFacts Outlook, and it'll be interesting to see what it's looking like in this new year.
Yes, and that's another thing that changed this year. CattleFacts has moved to the Friday morning session. That is for sure one of the most popular sessions that we have at the convention. It'll be first thing Friday morning, but part of the reason that we moved that to Friday is to give opportunity for folks that maybe want to come in just for that one day, to be able to, for some folks getting away at the end of the week, or if they want to bring their families, they can do that a little bit easier on Fridays. So we moved that to Friday morning, and folks will be able to get their market report, a weather update, really kind of a glimpse into what's going to happen over the next 12 to 18 months.
So at this point, we're getting close, but can somebody still register?
Absolutely, they can still register. So registration never closes. At any point in time, they can go to convention.ncba.org and register there. Or if they prefer to do that in person, they can register on site in Orlando. As I mentioned, we have registration. We have one-day registrations. We have trade show only. We also are really looking to make Friday in the trade show family friendly. We call it Family Fun Friday. And we have a lot of things going on that are family friendly. The pups and popsicles I mentioned. We have some specific programming. We have a blue jacket custard social brought to us by our friends over at Culver's. And then on Friday night, our Friday night event this year is going to be fantastic. It's going to be at Universal Studios. We have the New York section of Universal Studios rented out specifically for our group and exclusively for our group. And so that's included in the full registrations and one-day registrations. And people can buy tickets separately for that as well. And part of that event, in addition to roller coasters, the 6 rides we have available just to our group, we'll have a concert with the Bellamy Brothers. So we're really looking forward to that event as well. It's going to be a great way for folks to connect and just really get a taste of Orlando while they're there.
Well, I am looking forward to it. It was a great show last year, and I got all my steps in that I needed for about a week, So
you and me both.
Doubt that'll be any different. We just have to study that schedule there, and there's lots of information you can find, especially on that website, that just is easy. You can filter it any way you want, and I like the way that it's laid out and set up for that. Anything else before we close we didn't touch on you might want to say?
Yeah, folks, if they want to start preparing for the convention, you can also download our app. You go to the App Store and you search for CattleCon, it'll pull up our app, and that has the schedule, like all the detailed information, even more than what we just talked about, and gives you a chance to kind of get prepared before you make your way to Orlando.
Thanks, Kristin, for walking us through the newly named event and some of the changes that attendees will find. So that's the ZimmCast for this week. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you for listening.
You've been listening to the ZimmCast, the official podcast of AgWired. Check us out at www.agwired.com to find out what's new in agricultural marketing.